you. If you're new here, hello, welcome. I'm so glad you're joining us. But if you've been with me for a while doing these classes, this is going to be our final free virtual class for the time being. Now that doesn't mean that free classes are gone. We're actually moving them to in-person. So when you go and register for classes now, you will see that they're no longer virtual. They are now in person. I think they're the third Saturday of each month. So we got January, February, and March coming up. Because of the technical difficulties that we often have trying to record these virtual classes, and I'm just missing having students in the museum, I'm really trying to transition to more in-person stuff, seeing how that goes over, seeing what kind of engagement we get, okay? So I really hope you guys sign up and join us here in the classroom on the third Saturday of each month. The Rsvps, they're a bit more limited. Usually we have about 25 free virtual bags for you guys. For these upcoming classes, there's only going to be 15 spots because it is in person, so we need to limit it a little bit more. So if you want to come take a free class at the museum, you need to RSVP ASAP, and it should be on the website. Also, all of our other amazing classes are now on the website as well, and we have many coming up for the winter session. So please check those out. Ask your parents if you can come hang out with me and make some art, okay? Okay. I don't think there's any other news, so let's get into this wonderful, exciting art class. I love teaching about this guy. So this is the piece that we have here at the museum. Now there are so many different ways that I've heard people pronounce this guy's name. So I'm just gonna go with this one, Vasily Kandinsky. Maybe some people aren't agreeing with me, I'm so sorry, but I've heard it pronounced that way, so I'm going with that one, I like that one. Kandinsky was a Russian-born artist. He made a lot of stuff, okay? He was very prolific, which means that he made a lot of work. Here is another example. This is a really famous one, and this is the one we have here at the museum. Now, I hate showing you guys these little pictures. They're so tiny, you don't get to understand the grandeur of how big they really are. Many of these paintings that I share with you guys and teach you guys are very big, and they're just a lot more interesting and exciting in person because you see how much work really went into it. So this is how big this one, or kind of this one, this is a similar series, is. This is also a really famous one. I really love teaching Kandinsky because kids get really excited about just how cool it looks. The shapes and the colors and the designs are all really interesting and relevant to today. People still really love this stuff and using these kinds of designs to make artwork. So kids always love doing Kandinsky type work, so I hope you guys enjoy it as well. Kandinsky is often called the father of abstract work, but he's not. Hilma Klint was doing this way before him, and she often gets forgotten and doesn't get the credit that she deserves. She was doing this for a really long time. So this is how big her artwork was. It's super big. It's really cool. I wish I could see it in person someday. Here's another example. So one thing you'll notice in both of these works is that they have a lot of shapes and designs that communicate what the work is about, right? There's nothing in here that you recognize. There's no people, places, or things. With Kandinsky, he really loved creating a language, I guess I could say, for music. He really liked music. And so in his work, he wanted to create a visual language for music. He would often say that he could hear color, that he could see music as an art. So that's what he was often trying to do in his artwork. He would listen to music and visually communicate what he was hearing. So he came up with his own language for communicating music. Hilma did the same thing, but more in a spiritual sense. She was really interested in creating a language that was more spiritual based, okay? So very similar way of working, different themes, very similar artists though in a lot of ways. Okay, getting to the artwork. I feel like I've talked a lot about these people. In your steps, I created a really specific way to create your work, and you don't have to do that like always. But if you want to, it's kind of fun because you create this code that nobody will recognize, and then you have this piece of artwork that only you know what it's about. And I really liked doing that, so maybe you should try it with me. Okay, so this is my artwork. And do you guys know what this is about? No way, there's no way. Because only I have the codes, right? And it gets a little weird here, but I had a lot of fun doing it. So, how do I explain this? Okay. This is why in person is going to be way better, because you guys can see a lot more of what's going on. But this thing is people. Okay, I don't really know how well you can see this, but this shape is people. This shape is pets. This shape is drinks. This shape is a table. This shape is chairs. This one is food. This one is a tablecloth. So what do you guys think this piece now is about? It's a dinner party. Do you like it? I had a lot of fun doing this, and I just love that nobody ever will know what this is about. So I'm going to do this pretty much again with you guys. I will turn off the camera at some point and let you work, but I want to start it with you, okay? So the first thing you're going to be doing is thinking about either a story or a dream, or maybe even like a cartoon that you love that you want to visually represent. Whatever you want your work to be about, choose something and then make a key for it like I did. So all these specific shapes and designs have meanings. And it really helped me to lay it out so I know what's going on, okay? So let's pretend you already made your key, and now we're just going to start drawing out the shapes that represent your story. And wherever you want the shapes to go based on, you know, your story, your dream, whatever, that's up to you, okay? It doesn't have to make sense. I put my, you know, table in the center with things around it, but yours doesn't have to be just like mine. Okay. So I'm just going to start drawing up the shapes in my key. I'm going to stop there. You guys don't need to watch me draw. The next step, though, would be to outline everything that you've done in Sharpie. The Sharpie and the watercolor always looks really good together, and it helps to kind of keep your forms the way that they are. They don't disappear when you add the watercolor. So that's what I would do next. This art project is very much you all deciding what you want to do, what you want it to look like, how you want it to be. So I don't really need to do a lot of instruction when it comes to making the work. Okay. Again, let's pretend that everything's done. I Sharpied everything. This took me about an hour and a half. So I'm very much skipping ahead. Okay, your colors. What is your work about? What colors best represent your work? Do you want bright colors? Do you want neutrals like browns and grays? Do you want cool colors to kind of give it a more moody vibe? Do you want warm colors to make it more exciting and happy? Think about your colors. What makes sense for your story? So mine is a dinner party. But it doesn't mean I have to be so literal about it. I just kind of went with what colors look good together in my opinion. To make sure you get your brush wet and you bring that water to the watercolor. That's what makes the watercolor work. If your brush is not gliding really easy on your paper, that means you just need more water. It is watercolor after all, right? Okay. I'll finish this little shape just to show you what the watercolor should look like. And then I'm going to let you all get to it. It takes a while to get used to controlling it because it's pretty watery. So take your time, go slow. Always clean your brush when you go in between waters or colors, so that you keep your colors the way that they are. It's a precious art supplies. Okay, so I know that this is not done at all. I just wanted to kind of show you guys how I started, how I added color, what it should look like. The fun thing about watercolor is that you can have parts that are really, really saturated, like the color is very much on there, layered, and then other parts where the color is very lightly on the paper. And so there's a lot of contrast going on. Another thing is if you layer shapes, you can then layer colors, which always looks really cool with watercolor. I had like a dark green and a light green, and then they layered, they mixed together in this shape. So that's something to try as well. Okay, I'm gonna let you guys get to it. I'm so excited to please share, see what you come up with, what your language is, and what your story is, even though we'll never know what it's about. That's the fun part. Upcoming free classes are gonna be really fun. We have, a collage class coming up, and we're actually gonna do sculpture as well. So please join me for those. And that's it. I will see you all in person